60 Cycle Hum features a mix of products that were purchased or provided and content that is a mix of sponsored, paid, unpaid, and Patreon funded. Use your eyes, ears, and common sense to come to your own conclusions.
Hey everyone, I'm Ryan. You're watching 60 Cycle Hum, and in this video, I'm going to have some fun showing off and exploring some of the new sounds and settings in the brand new Line 6 HX family of products update. That was a mouthful. Why do I come up with stuff like this for me to say? But anyways, they came out with a new update, and I feel like there's a setting in it that they made just for me. I have been using the HX Stomp here as the core of my travel recording rig for years now. Multiple trips to Germany with it, multiple NAMMs, summer and winter, multiple seasons of road case where I go to guitar shops and stuff like that and film. It's just the most convenient and most powerful device I have for recording guitar tones out when I'm traveling, and I just use it over and over again. I keep going back to it. But there has been a problem, a major issue for me. It has not had a passable, drippy, springy, surfy reverb. And they've fixed that. They came out with a new reverb. It is called the Hot Springs. And it does it, guys. I'm honestly really excited about this. But before I gush about it too much, I'll play it a little bit and you can tell me if you think it drips or not. Here we go. Are you ready? It sounds like a drip to me. That's a drip, guys. They did it. They finally did it. I have been complaining about this in videos for years now. Previously, the best option on here was their Legacy 63 spring setting, and it's nowhere near as good sounding as this. Let's actually go to that and do a quick comparison. I've made two patches here, my new surf reverb and my old surf reverb. Everything is identical on these two patches except for the reverb patch. So here is that Legacy 63 spring setting that I mentioned. It's trying to like approximate a drip, but really it sounds like someone hitting like a steel telephone wire with like a stick or something like that. And the trail's just all wrong. It can be a pretty sounding reverb. It has merit. But it doesn't really come close to approximating a Fender outboard reverb style sound. Now we go back to the new one. So much better. Back to the old one. Not just the sound, but the feel is better. The way it responds to pick attack and stuff like that. It just feels way, way, way closer to the real thing. Back to that old one, just to drive it home. I'm so happy about that. I'm planning on visiting Summer NAMM this year, if it happens. I mean, fingers crossed on that. But if it does happen, I'm super excited to haul this around with me and be able to record various guitars with the surfy sounds that I like, because this is making a surfy sound that I like now. In between this update and the last update that featured a Princeton amp in it, I feel like Line 6 is making updates just for me at this point. And I've been using this product for years and complaining about these little issues and stuff. Now I feel like I can finally recommend a surf sound in the HX Stomp, in the HX family of products. I think it's great. I'm really excited about it. So thank you. Thank you, Line 6. I will put this patch, the new Surf Reverb patch, as a downloadable link in the description down below for people who want to explore this. Next up, let's compare it to a couple pedals that have done that drippy, surfy sound for me well in the past. I just want to see how it compares for my own personal reasons. I've got the Ocean's 11 here. What I consider to be the best budget option for getting a drippy surf reverb sound. I think these are like $150 brand new, something like that. And the spring setting does a great job. It really does. I think this is the cheapest drip I can honestly recommend and say, yeah, you could go start a surf band with this. So let's turn off that hot spring setting. See how it compares. Really nice, bright, like tic-tac sort of drip from the Ocean's 11. I've always been a little bit critical of the tail on it, though. It ends in a really kind of abrupt and like digital sort of way. It also kind of does a good job of capturing the bad sounds that can happen, the annoying sounds that can happen with outboard spring reverb units, the high, like kind of ice picky, sort of out of control sounds. You can hear how bright and sizzly that reverb trail gets. I have a feeling I have this dialed in to be a lot more mellow than that. Yeah, let's get into the mix here. I've got it pretty conservative at 30%. Let's take it up to 40%, see what happens there. Yeah, I have a feeling that's a bit closer. Nope. Even higher. Let's go crazy. 55%. I know. That's crazy. I'm sure if I spent the time, I could dial it in a lot closer. They'd sound different. But I don't think one sounds better or worse than the other. I like the trail here better on the HX Stomp, but I think there's something kind of percussive and like this tactile response feel that I like from the Ocean's 11. But then again, it gets annoyingly bright sometimes. That bright ring there. That's a much better, like, studio controlled sound version of this sort of thing. I have a feeling the Ocean's 11 is a little bit better at doing like a Dick Dale sort of reverb. it's just too over the top at 55%. Let's take it down to 45. They sound different, but I'm totally, completely happy with the sound of the hot springs on here. I've always struggled when I go and do, you know, my travel content. Like, should I fit this onto my rig somehow? Should I bring this along so I can get a drippy reverb setting? I don't have to think that way anymore. I don't need to bring it. If I'm putting together a pedal board for local gigging, then I'd probably get more choosy about what reverb I'm going to use and use this just as like my amp and cab sim. All right, next up, the True Spring by Source Audio. This is my vote for pretty much the best high quality, higher end digital emulation in a pedal of an outboard spring reverb unit. Let's see how it compares. We'll start off on the hot springs on the HX Stomp. Might actually need to bring down the mix a bit now. Take it back down to 40. I feel like that's more similar than this to the Ocean's 11. It's a more dialed in, like, studio sort of sound. Yeah, it's actually not that far off. I probably was dialing this in when I was making the patch to sound the way that this sounds because I like this so much. I think the drip itself sounds more 3D, more authentic, like there's this dimensionality to it, this hollowness to it where you can feel like the spring kind of like bouncing around in this physical space where you don't get as much of that from the HX Stomp. Yeah, you can really hear the sweetness of a virtual spring kind of like rattling around. Yeah, I think this sounds just a little bit sweeter. But, I mean, this is a standalone pedal that I think is like $250. This is a multi-effect unit that is $600 new. You'd buy two of these and you're approaching the price of this. So it's kind of like if you have one of these and you want to experiment with those sounds, you want to experiment with drippy reverb, it's there now. For someone like me who travels with this, I'm not going to bring an extra thing. It's got the sound that I want within a reasonable range of like my own desires for that sound. I lost the words on how to express what I'm talking about. But you know what I'm saying. This scratches the itch plenty good enough. In fact, I feel like I would put it quality-wise in between these two pedals now. Two pedals that I can fully recommend, and now I can fully recommend the sound in this for someone wanting to experiment with surf guitar sounds. So let's take a look at the rest of this patch that I made here. I've got a few interesting things going on here. One of my signature things I like to do with my HX Stomp patches is I like to split after the amp into two separate cabs that are going stereo. So I have the same cab, a 1x12 US Princess, the Princeton cab here, but I have a different mic on each one, a 120 ribbon on one and a 160 ribbon on the other, and it's just enough to give it this 3D dimensionality that I really like working with in post. It also gives me options. If one sounds way better than the other, then I can lean into that one, and so on and so on. The amp is that US Princess, the Princeton model that they came up with on the previous update. I have a studio compressor here just to kind of bring up that trail a bit. Here's what it sounds like without the compressor. It's nice to have a little bit of compression after something like a reverb or delay or something like that. And then I've got a tremolo here that I can turn on and off. I can also tap tempo that. And then a new thing, they have this retro reel modulation, which is kind of like a real saturation simulator. Kind of does what the Strymon Deco does. You can add a bunch of wow and flutter to your signal. Saturation, which is actually like, it's a secret dirt pedal, guys. It's a secret overdrive, which is why I'm using it here, is giving this kind of like crispy, crunchy, loose grit sort of sound that I like to have before my my drippy, surfy reverbs for my reverb patches. We'll turn that off so you can hear the difference it's making. Back on. It just gives me a little bit of edge of grit, like a hair of grit, and it gives me a bit of like a preamp boost and a make betterer sounder sort of experience. Again, I will have this preset for download in the description down below for free. Let's turn off the reverb so you can hear kind of the more extreme things that the retro reel can do. I'm going to turn the wow and flutter all the way up. Kind of a fun, modulated, vibrato, chorusy sort of thing. Here's the saturation. I've got it at 3.9. I'll turn this down to be more reasonable over here. Turn up that saturation though. Oh, it's gonna get dirty. That's kind of a fun overdrive sound. It honestly is. But I like to keep it down lower just for a little bit of edge of crispiness. There's also a low cut setting, a high cut, tape speed. Let's dime that wow and flutter again so you can hear that. There are 3 different tape speed settings. I like to have it on the fastest setting. It just makes it feel like there's motion involved, but it's kind of like back of the sound is a lot less detectable if you're not listening for it. And it is it's more psychological. I don't know. Oh, texture is interesting. Let's go back. We'll pull back the wow and flutter. We'll bring the saturation up. Texture changes the character of that distortion. So turned all the way down, it's kind of like a loose grit, the kind of sound that I like. You turn it up and it gets tighter. Ooh, gets kind of weird too. Feels like it's glitching a little bit. Yeah, with the gain all the way up, it doesn't want to have the texture all the way up. It feels more natural to me on the lower settings. That's what I like. Yeah, that's what I like. So on to some other new stuff. I'm going to go to a whole other patch that I made. They have this dynamic hall reverb in here now, which is like a gift to all the churchy ambient reverb fans out there. Of settings across this: diffusion, dampening, motion, low frequency, low gain, low cut, high cut, all sorts of stuff on here. If you want to have a reverb that can just really take over your sound and go fully ambient in a hurry, this is a great one. Like if I was putting together an ambient patch, I would have an expression pedal connected and I would have it ramp between like a low mix and like a fully rich mix. Next up, they've got a new delay in the mix, the Euclidean delay. Am I pronouncing that right? I never know if I'm talking right. This is a very interesting concept. How do I explain this? I'll have to put up the chart that they provide in the download information. So imagine like you can set this wheel that's got all your repeats on it. That's your steps over here. So let's set this for 8 steps. Now over to fill. There's 8 spots on this wheel of delay repeats. where it's going to repeat your detected tone potentially 8 times. Fill is how many of those spots are going to be filled and will actually play. So if you do it just on 4, it's going to go every other, and it's going to sound like a normal delay. Well, it has some unique qualities, but it's like, that's a normal rhythm. But if you put it off center, now you have 5 repeats in an 8 potential repeat slot. It starts to get uneven. Let's do 6. You can even go lower. 3 repeats out of 8. And then rotate determines the starting point of that sequence. We can go back and do something more complex. Let's do 15 steps and 10 fills. Do a faster time here. I said earlier that it feels like Line 6 is putting out updates just for me, but really it's split between me and Knobs. Like, this is another one of those sounds that the Knobs channel would have a ton of fun with. And on the last update, there was that glitch delay that did a similar thing too, like that Knobs territory of sounds. I think it's a really fun concept, really interesting kind of like pattern building sort of exercise there. It's very cerebral. You're thinking about how many steps and how many fills there are in each step, and the patterns changed based on each setting. It's kind of like there's infinite combinations sort of situation. What else was there? There was that amp too. Oh, and the rat pedal. I set up a patch for the new orange amp that they have in here, the Mandarin Rocker. I don't know how it's any different from their last orange amp setting. I did the same thing where I split into 2 identical cabs with different mic settings on it for my stereo width thing. I'm not like an orange amps kind of guy. So I don't know how this stacks up to capturing that orange sound, but it gets really gainy and heavy. Kind of want to hit it with the baritone. Here we go. All right, let's turn that down and explore that new rat. So the issue with the old rat setting is that they modeled the filter on it completely wrong. So here is the original model that they had. I feel like I should do this with a different amp. Yeah, there's a sound I'm more used to working with. All right, now let's check out the new one, which is the Ratatouille distortion. Yeah, the filter is a lot more normal now, a lot more representative of a rat. Okay, I'm gonna grab a regular guitar. Harmony Silhouette, because why not, right? Back to the original. Well, the new setting sounds a lot warmer, besides having an improved filter stack. Does it do the low gain thing well? Yeah, it sounds a lot better to me. I don't know. I'm kind of picky about overdrives and distortions and stuff like that. When I use the HX Stomp on my pedal board, I tend to rely on those sorts of things to be outboard, to not be handled by this. I rely on this for amps, reverbs, modulations, and stuff like that, but I tend to lean into physical boxes for my distortions and overdrives and fuzzes and whatnot. But if I'm recording in the field, I'm recording while I'm traveling, and I need a rat sound, I think that new rat setting does a pretty decent job of it. You take that and you stack it into some delays and reverbs and stuff like that, and I'd be having a good time. So anyways, do you guys have any other questions about that spring reverb setting, about that big hall reverb setting, about the orange amp? I really can't answer any questions about orange amps. I don't know a lot about them. Maybe questions about the retro reel or that Euclidean crazy like patterned delay thing. Talk it out, guys. Chat it up in the comments. If you don't own one of these, do you think having a drippy reverb in the HX stuff now gets you closer to being curious about buying one of these? If you already own it, are you stoked? Do you like the other settings better? Do you like the original, like the Legacy 63 reverb better? I don't, that's for sure. So anyways, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, dislike, leave me rude and nasty comments. Support us on Patreon. Buy a shirt if you're naked. If you've already got a shirt on and you want to wear 2 shirts, buy a shirt then, because then you can stack them. And huge thanks to Line 6 for putting out a really great update. The last couple updates have been fantastic for me. So thanks for that. And stay grounded. Bye, everybody.